do. Yes, we do. Critical thinking is so important. Thank you, Risha. We're all about critical thinking here. Because too much of critical thinking is not happening in my work life and like when I go out there to be with them regular humans, I'm like, y'all have done had a lobotomy and I can't take it. So on this channel right now, together with you all, we're using some critical thinking here. And that's why I've already tried to explain, well, why do we have these extreme thoughts? It's because it's the lack of critical thinking. It's really emotionality. It's trying to be so like, it's this big rush into trying to find something and grasp at it because of emotional pain, right? Having a history of oppression and all of that, there's pain in that. Having a history of being an oppressor and having that ancestry, there's pain in that. I know maybe people don't want me to feel sorry for people who are non-melanated, if you will, or they don't have like a lot of melanin in their skin. But to me, I could see that being hard if that's not the vibe you're on, right? So you know your ancestors were some like screwed up people, but yet that's not the vibe you're on, but yet you represent that every time you walk out. You have to deal with that, right? You have to deal with your ancestors, just like we have to deal with our ancestors. We all have to deal with that history. And so we have to use critical thinking now that we have the knowledge. We have the knowledge. We get it all. We get it. Humans are messed up. Humans are effed up on many different levels for different reasons. So now we're like, okay, with that information, who am I? What am I? What am I doing here? What am I doing now? And what am I going to do with the information that I have, right? What am I going to do with my ancestry, with my knowledge, now that I have access to it, now that I'm no longer closing myself up to that information? I'm not going to be afraid of it, right? You're not going to be afraid of it anymore. So that part's out. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be afraid of my history, right? If if Oshun comes to me in a dream, I'm not gonna be like crying for Jesus. I'm good. Like I get it. If Ogun comes, wielding the sword, I'm gonna just be like, yep, I'm about to wield my sword too. We're about to have a sword dance, have a good old time with each other. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be looking for the blood of Christ because I'm good. Like I get it. I'm all of these things. Not afraid anymore. And so you're at that point now, and I'm assuming that this is where you're at. You're at that point where you're like, oh yeah, we're all good. And I keep on thinking, for some reason, I keep on thinking about, I live in Arizona, so I'm really fascinated by, I have people who are Guatemalan, and Mexican, and I'm watching them like embrace their culture and their history. And I'm like, wow, like that's what my parents did. And so now they're actually starting to do it. So they're kind of shying away from Catholicism, which is typically what they go hard for. And they're starting to actually tap into their stuff. So when you see that, that's why I think about them as well. And I can't ever say their names like Toxicultal and all those kinds of names that I can't say. But when I see them tapping into their things as well, it's dope, right? It's like you're not afraid of it anymore. You're not afraid to see that imagery. You're not afraid to connect to that history at all. It's dope. But we have to realize, okay, but we're here right now and we're in a different space. And so trying to go from one extreme to the next is unnecessary. So to me, really what most of us are doing, if we choose to be critical about our approach, is that we are really in that gray path of magic, right? We are in that middle space. We are using critical thinking. We're observing. We are deciding what's important to us, and then we're applying it. We recognize that we can't be one way and we can't be the other way. Yeah. Tell me if we're not. I am. I mean, that's pretty much what I've learned along the way. I used to there's importance of understanding both sides, right? Most of us will enter into thinking differently, especially from a spiritual sense. Most of us will first go towards what people would consider to be that white path of magic, right? It's a safe one. It's the one where like Jesus can still be here, right? Yeah, okay. I won't harm anyone, right? Yeah. And then we take a trip around to the other side, and next thing you know, we are like, I'm dark side. I'm dark side, right? Yeah, dark side. Dark side. And then that becomes a gang. You know what I mean? We start whispering things. Yeah, we're dark side. To each other. We all love Kali. We get real caught up in Kali. Kali Ma and Sekhmet. We're like, Sekhmet, Kali, Sekhmet, Kali. We're in a gang now because we want to choose the scariest looking one. So a woman who's about to eat you and chop off heads, that's like, what? When you reach the pinnacle of darkness here.